I want to welcome you to Dream Chasers Radio with me, your host, Yaya Diamond. What's up, people? How you doing? Oh my gosh. Okay, so it is almost tax time. Breathe, y'all. Breathe. Just breathe. Just take a deep breath because we got somebody here for you. It's zero tax. And we're going to be talking to Beverly again because I love my girl, Beverly Neal Clinton. She is on the show with us. Welcome to the show, girlfriend. How you doing?
I'm well. Thank you for having me back again because I love that you're in my flow with this. Love it.
Girl, zero tax. Yes. Where? When? How? I mean, I'm not even going to ask why. I really don't care.
So I wanted us to start because I want to put this in historical context for us and why it's so important. Can I just give you just a quick 2-minute read and then we can jump off?
Yes, definitely, definitely.
Okay. So I want to begin with a very straightforward fact. The Emancipation Proclamation of September 22nd, 1862 was issued to free our people. As reparations, we were promised 40 acres and a mule. The land grant stretched from the Charleston Islands, which is where I'm from in South Carolina, to the St. Johns River and 30 miles inland. The ink wasn't even dry on the document when President Andrew Johnson revoked these land reparations and returned that land to the wealthy plantation owners who were the initial cause of the Civil War in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
The land promised but never delivered would be worth in excess of $16 trillion today. But there is something that every African American in the nation should know about, embrace, and spread the word about. There is a reparations juggernaut in the hands of African American Trust, and it will be the initial step in closing the income inequality gap that the federal government has been talking about for about 200 years. So just like the major corporations who pledged the $49 billion to improve the economic life of African Americans following the death of George Floyd, but now 2.5 years later, after the spotlights dimmed, no one was watching corporate America put their checkbooks back in their rosewood handcrafted desks and delivered nothing, not a dime. I'd like to backtrack that. Comcast has invested $100 million, but we can talk about that later. So we have a set of reparations that we get to control. It's ours to use, and we need no one's permission to use them. I'm asking you to join with us today as we will close the income inequality gap. We will produce executive incomes for ourselves despite not having had the opportunity to go and attend the best business schools and be placed in a high corporate position because of our family's last names or connections. We will rewrite African American financial history. We will change the economic future for generations yet unborn. I ask you to take the following pledge. Keep it in the canyons of your mind and say it silently every day to yourself. I will join in spirit to pursue the vision of African American Trust, as it will benefit me currently, my family members, and all with whom I share our African American ethnicity. So say that as a mantra so that you can understand how integral each of us are into making this reality.
Definitely, definitely. And it's so cool because I was reading on my phone the other day because I kind of like get the news on my phone. A lot of people do now. So reparations California style, Gavin Newsom, governor of California, has floated the thought that California would give every Black citizen in the state $250K each. This kind of payment would effectively bankrupt California. Newsom knows this and it will never happen. It will never happen, but he is putting it on as his resume.
Mm-hmm. Listen, that's why I brought up the fact of the $16 trillion. The US government knows exactly what it's been doing. It's been a systematic approach. Whenever you go to my website and you look at the if poem, the if statement, if we were allowed all of the opportunities that had been afforded everyone else, i.e. World War II vets who were able to get VA loans and get homes, because we know that that's normally our biggest Our biggest investment is our home.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we finally do get a home, and if we end up in Medicaid, the Medicaid comes back and takes the home. So now we're back to where we started again.
Right.
If we had not had black codes, if we had not had segregation, if we had not had Jim Crow, if we had not had systematic racial deprivement, where would we be? And those are all the realities of the if statements that have always been applicable to us in here in America. You know, it's funny when I talk to people, they say, well, Beverly, is it just for African Americans? Because you know everybody wants to like freak out about that. And I'm like, no, it's not about just African Americans, because to be quite honest, the very first person who signed up with me was a white woman.
Mm-hmm.
She got it. What I am saying though is that we have to at some point be in control of our lives, and we will all pay taxes. Like 143 million people filed taxes in 2021. You're gonna file them. So why not file them and get your money back and
Yeah.
use what we have available to? And that's why I'm running. I'm running hard, and I want us to get it all back. I want you to not pay one more penny more than you have to, not 1 cent more.
That's right. That's right. I love the fact that you are doing what you're doing. But okay, so let's kind of go back to the reparations part of it though, because I know a lot of people are like, okay, so how does the reparations and taxes kind of go hand in hand here?
Ah, great question. Great question. Okay. So if you look at what reparations is, like Governor Newsom was talking about giving us,
Right.
$225,000.
Which isn't enough, but okay.
No, no. When I say pennies in them, that's like some serious don't discounts. Um, and that would be fine, but not really. So having said that, how is this becoming our new reparations? So we talked about this on an earlier show, that the gig economy are those young people, or some of us who have the 2 and 3 jobs. Those of us, when we have those 2 or 3 jobs, we are cobbling together an income.
Mm-hmm.
If those incomes were side hustles and the 1099s, and you were able to get up to, and when I say, I'm starting at the $74,458, we really can do more than that. But that is just a threshold which everybody can just envision in their minds. If you were to do that over a 25-year period, getting that 74 just based at the 74 back, you would increase your overall income by $625,000. Now, on that same 25-year period, if you were to have your retirement income, because again, that's going to be that $20,500 that you would be able to put away for the next 25 years, that would go towards your retirement. That's going to be another $950,000. So you add that 950, the 625 over a 25-year period. That's our economic reparations. That's something we've done for ourselves by the money we've already put out that we are now getting back.
Mm, 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 mm. That's good money. The one thing I do know though, and it just this is across the board. It's not a black thing. It's not a white thing. You know what I mean? But it's just a people thing. When people get money, they don't know how to act.
Oh, honey, I know, I know. And that's going to take some changing our thought processes as well, because there is a wonderful game that I always love to tell people to play. It's a game by Robert Kiyosaki, and he was the author of a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Oh yeah.
That game is wonderful because here's what it does. Just like in our platform, everybody starts at the same level. There's nobody who is going to be ahead of anybody else based on degree or education or last name. You will all start off at the same starting point. In
Mm,
this game, The Rat Race by Robert Kiyosaki,
mm,
when you pull your pull your card for what your profession is, girl, you can be an airline pilot, a stewardess, a janitress. It don't matter. None of that matters. But what you do learn is how you learn the difference between trinkets and assets and liabilities, and how these little doodads all add up. And it completely changes how you look at money, and how you then begin to understand that money is a tool. Great game.
mm.
If you have young children, I would suggest you start playing that game with them like out of the gate. couple of years ago, it was like a couple of $100, and I thought that was too much. But I'm telling you, that's really, again, an investment. That's the other thing we have to do too. We have to understand that when we acquire this wealth, it is not about getting the baddest car, who has the most baddest sneakers, clothes, because those are the doodads that you would learn about in the game, the rat race. Those are liabilities. Those are things that lose value.
Oh yeah.
Those are not things that appreciate over time. And we have to start learning to not only invest in ourselves, we have to invest for the future. Now, having said that, for a long time, many of us were just working day to day, and it
Mm.
was hard for us to envision the future.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
definitely, definitely. Yeah.
and we have to change that. Radio shows like yours, showing life beyond whatever it is we are used to. Those are the ways that we change how we see life, and also understand that we can create so much more
Mhm.
with using money as a tool. Here's an
Def
example.
Mhm.
Here's an example. And you and I talked about this earlier. Another show we're going to end up talking about trust, but trust
Ooh,
creation,
come on now. Come on
trust
now.
trust creation protects you from creditors, debtors, and thieves. Now, you lock out those three, then your money's still going to be tight and you're going to be good. More importantly, though, you taught your children how to imitate and emulate your behavior, so therefore they will then be able to pass it on to the next generation. So when we think about building and creating, we need to understand that when we see those chain links, we can't be the weakest link. We have to, we have to, we have to create that strength, and that so that when you see us, you see all of us. It's not just me standing here. It's you standing to my left and someone else standing to my right. And if we fall, we all fall,
Yes,
because
yes,
I
yes.
got you.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely, definitely. I find that it's just a lot of people, like you said, they don't understand the tax laws, and then they go into this owing taxes, or they have such a big thing, and they go to the tax attorneys, or they go to an accountant, and they get their stuff done. Now, let me tell you something. I went to an accountant, many years ago, and they messed me up so bad. I ended up owing $6,000. Owing. So that's something that we don't want to do. What does your program do to help the people not get into these issues where they owe money at the end of thinking that they didn't owe money?
So what our program does is it's gone through all 73,000 pages.
Mm.
It's gone through the 12,000 volumes,
73,000 pages.
73,000 pages currently.
That just messes everybody up. Nobody wants to read 73,000 pages.
Well, they know that, though. That they're banking on the fact that you don't want to read the 73,000 pages, which is how they intimidate you.
Mm, mm, mm,
There's a method to that madness.
mm.
Okay. Uh, and it's always a hide and seek thing. You've always heard it said about us: if you want to hide something, put it in a book.
Mhm.
So we've gone through the 73,000 pages. We've gone through the 1,200 volumes, and we found the 522 pages that are applicable.
Aha!
We have in finding those pages that are applicable to you, we have also broken out which codes speak to which deductions. And it's that simple. We have made it um, deceptively simple, actually. And I think maybe that could be a point that scares people too, because just like when you went into your tax to your CPA and you ended up owing, what we tell people is when you have our program, we advise you take it into your CPA, so that when he says, oh no, we can't do that, you're able to break out the code and show it to him and say, yes, I can, and here's why, and here's
Mm.
where. So you're educating them when kind of like you're doing their job. So let me say that's a great segue. Let me say this. We often have CPAs and financial planners come to us when they cannot figure these things out.
So the CPA can't even figure it out. How we are messed up. We lost.
Well, they're doing They're doing what they know. They are doing what they are taught. I'll give you another example. So let me know if you've heard this. Have you ever heard that when if you have a small business and it's not making money, that if it doesn't make money in the first 3 years, the IRS considers it a an expensive hobby? Have you heard of that?
No.
Girl, I can't tell you how many CPAs would tell me that because I'm a serial entrepreneur. So back in the day, yeah, they would say, okay, well, if you're not making money by the third year, then you have to dissolve the business. That's absolutely not true. There is a form that we can provide to you that all you have to do is fill this form out every year. I don't care if you lose money every year, it don't matter. Fill out this one form, file it with the IRS, you're done.
Mm.
They don't tell you that. They don't tell you that, but that's what they know.
Mm.
I was talking to a guy the other day, and it was funny because he was in North Carolina, and he said to me, my CPA used to work for the IRS, and I know that everything that you're telling me is true. I'm like, well, you better keep her because we're going to give her some more stuff for you.
Mm.
But he had additional information based on the fact that she had already worked in the IRS. And
Mm.
many of us don't have those particular CPAs. But I'm telling you, we back up everything we say. It's not like I heard and now I don't know. No, you actually have it. You take it in. It's all in a nice little package. You take it in and you say, here's why I have these deductions. And
Mm.
and again, we start at the 74 because that's a good number. But depending on what you do, we can write off even more than that because all we have to do is just say, okay, I do this. Here's where it falls within the codes, and this is why I'm justified.
Def-
That's also why you would be able to take your family to Magic Kingdom, Magic Mountain, or anywhere, and you would be able to write that off as a business trip.
mm. That's what I'm talking about. Hey. Oh, so excuse me.
Well, no, no, no. Well, listen, since you got all excited about that, you also know that there are cruises that you could take. there are there are cruises that you could take your family on to have
What
your
you talking
next
about, girl?
meeting, to have your next meeting.
We go to
And
Hawaii.
there are certain ports, as long as those ships go into those ports, which are American ports, specific ports, you can write that whole thing off. That's where y'all gonna have y'all meeting. For real. For real. Hi, remember me?
You kidding me?
I am not.
Is okay, so wait. Is that how okay, so wait. Okay, I got a question for you. So, you know those big corporate getaways that they give those trips to their employees or top employees. Oh, the top employees, they're going to Hawaii. We're gonna meet out that way. We're gonna have a great time. They have that meeting. Is that all write-offs for them? Oh
Yes.
my gosh.
Yes.
I don't know about y'all, but if you want to work for me, we're gonna go ahead and go to Walt Disney World. We're going to yeah, we're gonna have our meeting there amongst the animals. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Because I'd rather be there having my meeting than to have my meeting in a regular place. I mean, literally. I
Yes.
do. I do. But let me
Yes.
ask you a question. Does the tax laws okay, so every year they say there's new tax laws. What is that?
They say that every year. My partner, Dr. Maguire, he makes me laugh because he's like, look, let me tell you something. How you have some people that are just naturally, they're in their geekdom, whatever there is. Like for my husband, he builds supercomputers. So his geekdom is anything that has lights and CPUs and things like that.
Uh-huh.
That's his geekdom. Dr. McGuire's geekdom is the tax code. He has been reading them for the last 35 years. The joke between him and me is that they can take that whole tax plan and burn it up. He can get the edges and he can still piece it together because that's how much
Wow.
he's read it and he knows it. And he's also very candid when he says when he came up with this system, a lot of people think he came up with it because of his PhD in mathematics. But he said, I came up and developed this whole plan as my being a detective. He said, because when you have a case, you need to make sure that your case is tight from the moment it begins to the time you go into court till the time that you're done. You have to think about before, during, and after.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how come this plan is very different. And mind you, again, we don't believe in reinventing the wheel.
Mhm.
This has been in existence for the last 35 years because, again, Wall Street brokers used this when they were in that 46% tax bracket. So they were saving their money then, and they've been saving it for the last 35 years. And now we are coming on the scene. And when you think about how our money, the African American dollar, does not circulate within our community, just imagine what this could do. So let's say, so you already know my plan, you know my vision, you know my 3-tier levels,
Right.
me, my 6, and then those 6 have their 10. Imagine what we could do if within our own communities we began to create this grassroots movements. Then we can go back into our communities. We can have our own stores,
Mhm.
because that's really where Wall Street developed for us. It was, and I'm not saying to separate our communities, but I am saying understand the power of your dollar, and let your dollar speak for you, and not go in and giving your money to people who don't really care about you. They just want your money. If we had the money to spend and put it back into our communities, imagine how we could grow our own communities, because we wouldn't have to go outside for funding. You know, one of the questions that I ask some churches, because I am starting to talk to some churches, because we have a program that works for churches as well. When I
Okay.
talk to the churches, I say to them, when y'all go, because every Monday y'all gonna be there putting your money in the bank. You're gonna be there putting that money in the bank. How many hoops do you have to jump through to get your money back out?
Oh my gosh.
And then I hear crickets. Nobody wants to talk about that. And I'm like, yeah, they're gonna smile at you. You know why they're smiling at you? Because they're taking your money.
Yeah, and not only that, they're taking your money and they're investing it, and they're getting more money within 24 hours from sending it out to investment. So they're investing your money.
Yeah, they're using your money. So when we talk to churches, you know, one of the things that we say, by having your specific person that you designated to work with the tax plan within your church, just a generic small church, if they were able to get $200 per person that they signed up to come in, that those $200 among their church members then would be able to pay for their utilities,
Mhm.
their heat. So now that's money that's been freed up to get that brand new building fund that they've been building forever, and it still ain't there. You see what I'm saying?
I do.
So when we're talking about creating wealth and generational wealth and sustainability, that's what we talk about with the church. We're talking about a ministry of sustainability, instead of always asking for the the plate that you pass around, and you pass around another plate for something else. Listen, the money is there. It's just, how do you want to use it? When we talk about creating wealth, that's what we're talking about, because that's how you learn. You do better. My grandmother, you do better when you know better.
Mhm. Mhm. Yep. Yep. Wow. Wow. There's just so many different questions, but the one question I do have you is, what is the most common thing that we're not doing that we should be doing that your program teaches?
Keeping track of all of your expenses. You
Even the
know, all of
gas, everything, your food, everything?
all of that. Keep those receipts. Just, if you have a bucket, literally just throw the little throw a little plastic container and mark it January. Put everything for January in there. Sort it all out later, because that's what they're going to look for if you should ever happen to be audited. And again, we always laugh about that too, because by the time they ask us for stuff, it's like we show it to them and they're like, okay, we can just call this audit done, because we're preparing you so
Mhm.
that you, when you have those conversations with them, you are in total control. They are not ragging you. They're not running you up a pole. And it just takes time. It's like any learned behavior. Once you do it, over a 30-day period, then you will repeat that behavior. Keep up with your receipts. Be able to show them that that's what this is for. Write on that receipt. Like, I had lunch with a woman the other day, and we were talking about the taxpayer plan. I wrote her name. The restaurant was already there, how much it was, how much the tip. So of course my gas was included in that, my vehicle, and the cost of the food. How
Mm.
easy is that? Throw it in that little plastic box. I'm done.
Right. Wow. Wow. There's just so much that we could talk about, but the biggest thing that we could talk about right now is zero tax. Um, you know, Most people don't realize that these big companies are using the same method to get over and not pay taxes. And we could do the same thing. There's no bias against it.
There is no bias. And I think that we don't, and I've said this before, we don't understand we don't really appreciate how much ignorance is costing us. We have beautiful minds. We are incredibly creative. Just do what you're already doing, but allow yourself to have that first 74,458 income, zero tax, because you can. And you're not doing it because you just don't know. And
Yeah.
imagine what you know, then have you ever heard of the 100th monkey syndrome?
No.
Okay. The 100 monkey syndrome began with one monkey, because monkeys didn't normally wash their food. They just eat it. One monkey started to wash their food, and by the time it got to the 100th monkey, it was just a part of that monkey's DNA. This is the very same concept. Once we start with one, we exponentialize it till it's just a part of our DNA. And we will do it and we won't even know why we're doing it, because it's just part of who we are.
That's wonderful. Wow, wow. But there's just so much we can talk about. I think we're going to save some for the next one because I know we have another one. But I mean, just reparations, just learning how to save your receipts and put them in an itemized way. I mean, there's just so many different things, but the biggest thing that I think that we're not getting is that, there is no bias. There is no bias between the small person that has a side hustle all the way to the big corporations that make billions of dollars a year. There is
Absolutely.
no difference. You save the same receipts that you would save if you were doing that. Your home receipts, everything, you write it down. And guess what? You too can be zero tax.
You could be zero tax and raise your overall income in the following year by 70%. 70%.
Wow.
Imagine where you would be if you had 70% more of your income next year, and the year after that, and
Wonderful.
the year after that.
Wow. Well, we all need that. 70. Yes.
70.
Yes, yes. Wow, wow. Well, we're going to go ahead and put your information in the description box. So you can get this program under usatrusted.com/independent contractors. We're again going to have that information in the description box below. I mean, Miss Neil Clinton, I mean, this is amazing. But I don't think most people understand it. And I don't think most people knew that they could do this.
They didn't. They didn't. And not only did they not know, this ties in with, again, that systematic sharing of information that we don't always have access to.
Yeah, well, we got access to it, guys. Zero tax. Just saying.
Zero tax.
Zero tax. All right. Well, I want to thank you again, Miss Beverly, for being on the show. It's just been wonderful. We're going to have you back again. We're going to be talking about something different about taxes. Obviously, we're getting ready to go into tax season, and we all need this help. And this program is here to help you get zero tax, but not only that, to keep 70% or to increase 70%. However you want to put it, it's 70%, guys. It's just 70. Okay. And we all need that in our pockets. All right. Let's learn how to do that. Let's learn how to keep that 70% in our pockets and flowing.
And Yaya, when your members come through, please have them put your name so that I can give this credit to you, because you are on this journey with me and I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Awesome. So if you put in Yaya, you will have a good seat. Just tell them,
yes,
Yaya.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I want to thank you guys so much again for tuning in to Dream Chasers Radio. Don't forget to dare to be different. And until next time, guys, bye. Thank you so much for stopping by. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Hit that notification bell so you'll be notified the next time that I upload. And don't forget to dare to be different. Until next time, guys. I dare to be different. I dare to be different.